Yes, we're having a conversation with Tanika. Make sure you like and subscribe to The Real South Africa Travel and Tourism.
And I live in Harlem, so I'm saying that as a person who experiences it. But it's like we come to other countries, especially on this continent, and we become so hypercritical. And I think we need to be led by what people who live here, their ideas, their political solutions, and not try to come and
impose.
Yeah. Like, how are we supporting?
Yeah, we do get that from time to time, and sometimes I have to, I have a conversation with them, letting them know, like you said, this isn't America. There are a lot of things that are better here, and especially in South Africa, that's better than what they find in their hometowns.
Yeah.
They find more peace here in South Africa than they do in their hometowns, the place that they grew up, and they know everyone. They find it here. And a lot of times they are surprised because it takes a moment for them to just kind of let that go. It might take them, a day or so, maybe 2 days, to realize that they're not in America, and then they realize they're in South Africa, and then they're almost like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel so good? Why am I smiling? And those are some of the things that, because we brought probably 1,000 people now or more as tourists here to South Africa. So we've seen from one side to the other, as far as people who are super gracious to those that are walking through the door with their complaint list, like they're coming to complain about South Africa, or they're coming. This is my complaint list. Well, I think.
What are some of the things they're saying?
Oh my God! First of all, let's use. I'm just going to keep it short because it could be many reasons why this is happening. But let's talk about load shedding. We get a lot of people saying, "Well, they got load shedding," and I be thinking, or they might call them rolling blackouts. First of all, they're all scheduled, so they can continue to repair the electric grid. That's a discussion in itself. But as I watch TV, because U.S. TV, we watch mostly U.S. TV, they're constantly talking about the grid, their own power grid. Like,
New York City, it's like lights all the time, especially don't let it rain.
Yes.
Don't let it rain and forget about it.
And so you don't get to control that in New York, or even, like I said, in the Midwest, when it's 100 and something degrees Fahrenheit and the power's going out. They don't talk about it. But here they actually, so you get an app and they schedule it. You will be off from 10 to 2. One of the benefits of it is not say forcing, but it's encouraging people to say, okay, let me get alternative solutions. Solar, backup power. So a lot of people are even going off the grid, which is actually, helping. It can be more affordable in the long run. 100%. Yeah, and it actually is, and the funny part about it is it's cheaper here for that same power system, because I have one here in this house, and I've been watching, and I'd be honest with you, it costs 5 times more in the U.S. to get the exact same system that I have here.
Really?
So we're not concerned with the power simply because we decided to go that route. But that's something that's afforded to South Africa and probably Africa itself, versus in the US they would charge you 5 times more to have that same system and try to regulate you into the ground about keeping it. So it's just a different way of doing things. But I do appreciate the fact that, like I said, that one video that went viral, which made complete sense, about you saying that we need to come to Africa and show some grace when we come to South Africa, or Africa in general, because I don't just advocate for South Africa. Even though I'm here, we do tours and travel here to South Africa. I think most of us need to spend some time in Africa.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just a vanity perspective, meaning like a lot of Black Americans, we have an ancestral, connection. A lot of times it's a spiritual experience. A lot of time, like, we are having an experience because it's something that has felt very denied. And so you feel like you're going through a range of emotions. But even for people who don't feel that, I don't know how they can feel that, they must be dead or something inside. But for people who don't feel that. Even from a vanity perspective, like I want to experience a new vacation place, you should definitely put like this continent on your list, and South Africa in general. It literally has everything. And so I just don't understand why you are skipping over an entire continent out of fear of what people have said or what you've learned, which is so antiquated.
Yeah, you've traveled to other places outside of the continent, but a lot of places inside the continent. And you've chosen South Africa is where you're going to build your home. When it comes to other places that you've traveled, not to compare, but like, what are your experiences in other countries compared to your experience here in South Africa?
I think South Africa has a saying that you can experience like the whole world in one country, and that's literally my experience. Yeah, if I want to go to the beach, if I want to go to safari, if I want to go like to downtown full of like buildings, it's literally all here. It's just a country that has captivated me. It's a country that I'm just in love with. I'm in love with the potential. There are times where it's frustrating just looking at the politics because I know what they have, right? And they're about to be 30 years out of apartheid. And I have dreams and hopes and aspirations for the country as well. But it's just, I mean, it's just one of the best countries I've ever been to in my life, literally. And I've been to over 60 countries, and I feel like I can say that. I mean, there are aspects, right? Like I like to spend part of my summer in France. I really love it. It's great. I don't want to be there when it snows. I don't want to be there when they're having racial issues and people who look like me are the target. Like, I'm not, right? Like there are aspects of many countries that I love, and all of the aspects of those countries that I love exist in South Africa.
Good answer.
I think you hit it right on the head. Obviously, it's that New Yorker in you, because you're used to being around a lot of people, different people, and you come here and you can find the same thing. So, you know, and I do agree with you. I think, you know, I've traveled a lot of countries as well. I've done a lot before I got here, and this was the one that captivated me the most. I mean, I could have lived in Europe. I mean, I could have easily just said, and it would have been easier to move to Europe. But I'm like, no, let me go through the pains or troubles of coming to South Africa, the ridiculing from friends and family. That was like, why you keep going to Africa? Do people ask you why you keep going to Africa?
Not my close friends, because they I think they're used to it. But I think people on my online friends or people who are like, you know, they're just generally curious. I'm always shocked. I know we live in a bubble because we experience the continent, because we've traveled, and you still can't believe that there are people like in their 30s, 40s, 50s who don't even have a passport.
100%.
Even though Google is free in the US for the most part. I mean, right? Like the internet can be costly. But like you could literally Google you know, Accra and see what it looks like on Google. You can see that there are buildings and streets and roads and parties, and you can look up the crime rate. Like you don't have to actually live in the dark. And people like they live in the dark about these situations, and then they like they project and they ask you questions like, aren't you afraid? Now with South Africa, I think it's a bit different because of the way that South Africa gathers their like crime statistics. It appears to be like much more criminal activity than there is. And I know the average South African, I know we're living a privileged experience behind some gates at some point, but like, so the average South African, well, I can't speak for the average South African, but I know it's just like in the United States. Oftentimes when people are their lived experience, they might be living in a lower income community, a crime-ridden community, they're gonna have a much, much different experience. But it annoys me when somebody is like living, you know, in a crime-ridden community in America and they're concerned about me going to South Africa.
As you guys see, we have many options to come to South Africa. We have our Joburg packages, which has 6, 10, and 13-day packages. And of course, the same for Cape Town. You can come, we can sort it out for you. All you have to do is get your flight, come here, we take care of everything else, and then you'll have a nice testimony as well. And of course, Durban, one of our best locations because it's tropical. And then of course, we have this thing called our ebook. And it's been assisting a lot of people in the information they need if they're looking at transitioning to South Africa.
Thank you so much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.